All right, hi, and welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack Network. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. Today, we're going to be talking Buffalo Bills, checking in with some training camp news and some updates from them. Here to help me with that is Nick Sabato from the Niagara Gazette. Let's go, man.
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, just rolling through these, getting a bunch of information that everybody needs to help out their fantasy teams. Just a lot of the insider information has been good stuff. But before we jump into things here, real quick, just let everybody know, remind them to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave the comments. We appreciate it and love hearing from you. And of course, our all access memberships are available over on Fantasy Six Pack. Become an all access member. You'll get access to the award-winning rankings, our draft cheat sheet, our player projections during the season, is DFS and betting stuff, and a deep waiver wire article that we have over there, and a whole lot more. Use promo code F6P Pods and save 15%. All right. Let's just jump right into things here and start off right off the top. You know, the biggest name in the whole locker room there, Josh Allen. Is there anything this guy can do to take this offense to the next level? He's already been amazing, but just anything that you're seeing that he can just be even better.
Well, yeah, I think he played a good chunk of the first half of last season with a broken hand. So, I mean, you look, he won the MVP last year, but his numbers were maybe his lowest since 2019. So, I think you might see a little more of the old Josh Allen this year, just in terms of his passing yards, passing touchdowns, things like that. Um, just because. You're not going to go out and pay a guy the most guaranteed money in NFL history and not really use him to that level. So his numbers actually might take a jump this year.
A little secondary question on this, like any thought that he can, and I know last year he did a pretty good job with it, but he has had turnover issues for quite a while. It kind of plagued him the whole career, like interceptions up and then fumbles as well. Any thought that they're like trying to figure out how to get those and keep those reduced?
Yeah, I mean, you're always working on that. Sometimes turnovers are luck. Sometimes, they're bad decisions. But would I expect him to go back to being among the league leaders in interceptions? Maybe not. I think maybe he's grown in that area, but would I expect the lowest, among the lowest in NFL history in the modern era? Maybe not. I maybe somewhere in the middle.
All right. Yeah, like I said, he did a good job of keeping those down last year. It had been pretty. It had been kind of a black eye on what was awesome, like, great seasons for him for many years. That was like the only thing you could look at to say negative for him. But last year he did a really good job with it, so hopefully he can keep it going. But let's move over to the receiving room here, and something that they've kind of struggled to find a consistent guy since Diggs kind of left. And the player I'm kind of targeting here, not maybe for fantasy, but just targeting as far as the question is Keon Coleman. Is he able to? Do you see him taking the second year leap that this team desperately needs? To find an alpha receiver type thing, and especially now with all the injuries, like they really need Keon Coleman to take the step up. Is he doing that in camp?
I mean, Keon Coleman has looked at times really good this summer. He's bigger than he was last year. He's more confident than he was last year. I don't know if you're ever going to get him to be a high volume receiver. Last year, he averaged 19.2 yards per catch. He kind of answered a lot of the questions about can he separate in the NFL. I think he's proven that he can. He's had some drops throughout camp. So, I mean, you take the good with the bad with him. Is he going to catch passes this year? Probably not. Is he going to catch 80 passes this year? Maybe not. But can he be in that 1,000-yard range? Possibly.
Yeah, a guy I really liked coming out of college, and it's the contested catch rate for him that really opened up everybody's eyes. Those highlight reels from Florida State were something to they were fun to watch, but hopefully it is hard to kind of project him to really take a massive leap forward, but I think hopefully he'll be better. Um, Over here at the tight end room, Dalton Kincaid had a fairly disappointing second season. Everybody really thought that he would be like the go-to guy for Josh Allen last year. Um, do we see him kind of getting back on track and being that really reliable target for Josh Allen and then therefore obviously for fantasy purposes?
Well, Dalton Kincaid played the second half of last season with a torn PCL and still ranked second on the team in targets. I think he had 91 targets. So he's going to get his share of chances this year. Um, he had 73 catches as a rookie. Is he going to ever be that elite tight end? I think this is maybe the year that you find out. He's had some knee soreness this during training camp, missed a practice with some knee soreness. Um, he's got to show that he can be that guy who can sit down in the zone and find those holes. That's not something he's done overly well so far this year. Um, but last year, I think he was just severely hampered by that PCL. I mean, you look at his target, the target percentage, I mean, was not very high. I would venture to say that that's going to drop down to maybe where it was when he was a rookie. Um, and but he's certainly got Josh Allen's trust, and I think he's going to be a pretty significant part of the offense.
All right. Over at the running back room, a little bit of drama here. James Cook doing the hold in. Now he's not practicing. It just, we talked about the Commanders who I got on my hat here, and Terry McLaurin kind of doing the same thing. But now James Cook, he started practicing and now he's not practicing again. So that was kind of a weird move. Kind of threw the GM off. What's your prediction on how this plays out?
I would venture to say that James Cook is eventually going to play. Once you get into the season, you start missing games and you start getting those fines. Like, it's a different story. He showed up to mandatory mini camp to avoid getting fined. He showed up to training camp to avoid getting fined. Like this whole hold in thing is a avenue around getting fined. And I'm gonna guess that he's probably not holding in unless Terry McLaurin doesn't ask for a trade, Micah Parsons doesn't ask for a trade, start holding in. Like, it's kind of a domino effect. I would venture to say that James Cook is eventually going to play for the Bills, whether he has a deal or not.
All right. Let's just say something happens. He doesn't sign, doesn't get his extension. He's not happy. He starts holding out for real. Who's the clear cut number 2 or will be the de facto number 1 at that point?
Ray Davis. But it's going to be a split kind of deal. I mean, it was split when James Cook. It'll be split when James Cook is in the game in the lineup. Ray Davis will be that first, second down kind of guy, and then Ty Johnson will be their third down back, just like it was with James Cook last year. And then Ray Davis was kind of sprinkled in as the kind of backup on to Cook or that number 3 overall back. But Ray Davis will get the kind of the lion's share of those first and second down carries. And then Ty Johnson will kind of be that guy, that receiving back on maybe second and long, third and medium, third and long.
All right. Yeah, Ray Davis was the guy that I've been kind of looking to the whole time anyway, and kind of a sneaky dynasty play anyway, just because you never, I don't really know what the future holds for James Cook on this Buffalo Bills team. So in dynasty, I'm kind of looking to hold on to Ray Davis and hope that he can be somebody for the future. All right, just a question that we're asking everybody to finish things off here is there somebody in camp who's kind of making noise that people really don't know as well that fantasy managers would need to keep an eye on?
Probably not. Keon Coleman is probably the up and coming guy. I don't know if they have anybody that you wouldn't know about that's going to make noise. It's kind of they've got the deal with the Bills offense is they pretty much got everybody back from last year. Obviously, they added Joshua Palmer, whose MO is he does everything well, nothing great. Um, See if he can maybe take another step in the Bills offense and prove that maybe that's not overly accurate. Elijah Moore has been added right now. He's maybe the fifth receiver. Well, right now he's probably like the second or third receiver because Curtis Samuel has been injured. Khalil Shakir has a high ankle sprain and is maybe in jeopardy of missing the start of the season. And then Palmer has had a groin injury the last couple of days. So um, it's all going to be dependent on how their injuries shake out at the receiver position. I mean, Kincaid's missed a day of practice. Dawson Knox missed the first week and a half of training camp with a hamstring. So they've been pretty banged up in terms of their weapons. But I don't foresee anybody new kind of emerging here. They've got a pretty veteran offense.
All right. No, fair enough. It kind of makes sense to me. So, all right, man. Well, thanks for coming and answering all the questions. This is great information. Before we close out, give you a chance to plug yourself and let everybody know where they can find you.
At Nick Sabato GNN on Twitter, and you can find me in kind of the same handle on Blue Sky.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for coming, and see you. Hopefully, we can do it again next year. See you, everybody.
Appreciate it.